Rock the Ripple. Rock the Ripple. The Rock the Ripple podcast with Narita McInnes.
Let's do this. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rock the Ripple podcast. I'm your host, Narita McInnes. It is so awesome to be here with you as always. And today is another very exciting day because I'm joined by two of my favorite people online. They are the co-hosts and creator of the Sky to Earth conference. They are all-round awesome humans. They are Holmes and Madeleine Doherty. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a big one, then it came down. No, guys, I'm so excited that you guys are on the show. I really wanted to bring you on because right now you're working on and bringing to life for the second time the Sky to Earth conference. And I know that that's something that started a while back. Madeleine, you had Sky to Earth Academy, and then it's evolved into a conference with Dale where you co-host with awesome people that you have on the show, or in the conference, I should say. And I am one of the people that signed up to the first conference, and I just thought it was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. And so I've signed up again, and I'm ready to rock for this next one that I know kicks off on the 16th of November. So I really just wanted to, I guess, get a bit of it for people who may not have attended the first one and jumped in that might be curious about what it's all about. We can probably start there. And I guess from my point of view, what I just loved about it is, to me, and I'm sure the awesome people in the community, my gosh, you guys have created such an awesome community. I've connected with so many of the people in there. They're just phenomenal. So that has been just a huge thing in itself as well. And then the speakers, of course, every speaker has just had so many gold nuggets and just the threads of the information going through that's just been phenomenal as well. But yeah, where was I going? So I just thought it would be awesome just to kick off. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know what I love about it? What I loved about it is that it felt like I was sitting around a campfire with you guys, just chatting, and or like laying back in the lounge, just having a chilled conversation. But it was so insightful and so deep. It's those conversations that really fuel your soul. You just, in your spirit, and you're expanding. It's not the fluffy stuff. It's the stuff that gets your heart expanding and your mind expanding. That's what I loved about it. So yeah, so let's just start off with maybe the one that we've had, just to give people an idea if they didn't know about it, and then what you've got coming up. So whoever wants to start, jump on it.
You can go, Mads.
Okay. Well, I guess for those that don't know, I started the Sky to Earth journey, but Dale was actually a guest speaker on it, and they were just such great conversations. And then when it finished, because the journey goes a little bit longer and it's a bit different, like it's like I'm actually taking people through kind of like a course. I haven't called it a course, but it's kind of like a structured journey. And Dale came on as guest speaker, but he came on once, and then we had to bring him on again because there was another topic that came up that, it was really good to yarn on with him. And anyway, at the end of it, when I was planning for the next journey, I was kind of like looking at the guest speakers and the topics I was going through, and everyone loved having Dale on. So I had to bring him on again. And then I finished that journey, and I knew that I was kind of changing how much I was putting into the next one. So I was kind of in the midst, and I am in the midst of kind of restructuring things with like the content, but I was like, I really want to keep continuing having these conversations, because they were just, I look forward to them every week. And also I was getting so much out of them, because even though we were sharing on maybe similar topics or different things that were coming up, it was not only relevant to what was circulating within the collective, like there's different themes that kind of you see surface within the collective, but it was also different perspectives, and everyone's coming from a different background. So different research and different understanding. And then you have these conversations, and it's kind of like everyone's just putting these kind of keys together, and you're suddenly seeing the whole picture. And I just don't think, personally, I think that's how kind of we should be moving forward and finding solutions, is having these conversations, these yarns, and sharing our stories. And so anyway, I just had this niggle that I had to, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I was like, I need to do a collaboration with Dale and have these conversations and maybe continue bringing people in, because even my mentor and friend Clint Walker, I really wanted to get Dale and Clint around the fire together, so to speak. So because I knew it would really, I guess I wasn't able to explain it in the way Clint was, and I knew that it would really fill in these pieces for Dale. And I've seen that happen, like the deeper layers that Dale's been able to get to as well. But anyway, that's kind of how it's kind of evolved. And then we've kind of reached out to different people with the main aim of looking for people that really hold that balanced perspective, because I think that wasn't originally the intention of the conference, but it's turned into that because I guess when you're looking at so many different perspectives, especially when people have dived into something for so long, they can sometimes, I don't want to say they get stuck in that or that type of thing, but I think when you start to learn and move through and elaborate on things, then, having a balanced perspective is really important. So yeah, that's kind of how it's evolved. And then, the last conference was incredible. I honestly learned so much from it. And I actually feel like I'm still integrating things even now. Like I actually went a little bit, not quiet, but it's kind of like I've been kind of internal kind of processing, because there's so many different layers that came through different guest speakers, just added so much to an understanding I already had. And it's kind of just, it's kind of put things into another perspective as well. And I guess like for this next one, we've got similar, like we've got the same guest speakers coming on, and then we've got new guest speakers. It's going to be, I reckon there's going to be some, a lot come out of this one. I'm really, really looking forward to it. So I don't know if Dale wants to speak on anything, but yeah.
That's awesome. I feel that too. I feel like it's such an expansive thing, and you saying that already, I'm just like, oh, can't wait. Dale, what about you? Add to that. You got the floor, mate.
I'm trying to, I think I went on, I didn't know much about it. Maddie was always telling me about Sky Earth Academy that she ran and how good it was. And I think
it was.
And I went on, I went on as a speaker a few times, and I'm like first of all, I noticed the energy straight away. It was very informal, but also like I could pick up the inquisitiveness and the wisdom from the group of people that were on there. And that was, what was that, Matt? It's like 3 years ago, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then, so I started going on. And then, because me and Maddie used to talk a lot, like not public stuff. And I was always trying to trap her down for an interview on that. And it was like, it's near impossible a lot of the time. You don't do a lot of stuff publicly, do you, Maddie, except for like on Instagram. But so, then eventually when she just like, kind of, this is how you roll, that she just messaged me one day and said, oh, do you want to do it? And I said, yeah, well, because we're always having these conversations anyway. And then it's particularly like, you would always share stuff about Clint. You're like, you need to talk to Clint. You need to talk to Clint. And then I think, so Maddie actually sent me, I was like, well, you sent me access to the previous one. So I watched a couple of Clint's talks and I went, holy shit. And I could see what you were talking about. But I guess, so it was, it was a no-brainer for me to, because I've said it many times before, I don't like doing like a lot of these things, and particularly with other people, because I struggle with, I don't know, certain people's outlooks on things and like rigidness in viewpoints and stuff. And I just knew with Maddie that she's very open to everything. And we were having quite similar, just similar outlooks on the way that the world was going, and particularly how people were being drawn into certain areas. So anyway, it was a no-brainer to jump on. And then, I was blown away. I really when we, I really didn't know where it was going. And I started to see like just this pattern. And I think we're probably both like that, Mad. So you just allow it to unfold as it did.
Yeah.
And it was more, it's the energy of both yourself and me, and then like the different guests that we were both connected to, and how because it was always going to happen like that, because you and me were coming from different viewpoints, but had access to different people and different information. So it just molded together so well. And then I just think the intention of that brought the right people in as far as attendees that came in. And it felt like, yeah, we're all taking in this information on different layers all at the same time. That you could just have, because I was talking to George Kavasilis the other day that we've got coming on this time, and he's been doing like this closed group thing for like 8 years. Like he really doesn't do anything publicly. And I said, oh, it's so much, because you could say like, why would you like pay for this, right, when you can go online and watch anything like chats? But it's so much more than that. Like I don't think people would understand, because you're following a line of speakers that are all connected, and then everyone's been able to share, and you're able to talk openly with people that understand the layers. I don't know if I'm verbalizing it right, but anyway, yes, I really see the value in being, even for ourselves, to be able to go on and ask questions and express ourselves genuinely without having to like bite your tongue around certain issues and stuff like that, while also being very like respectful to the guests that you might have differing opinions on too. It's like, I think like that's like one of the main energies within the group. It's like real respect for the people that are coming on and talking, and the work that they've put in over the years. And what I found too, because I made like an edit video for to like promote this one. So, and like it's like studying for me, going back, because you're picking it up at the time. But then when I always find that I take more in when I go back. So I go back and try and find the best bits to edit, and then I'm like, wow, like, because and cause people have got access to these videos forever, right, too. So I was just, I looked at things differently, even just going back and editing. And I'll just say the last like conversations you and me have been having lately, Maddie, it's like you can feel an energy shift that's coming up with this one too. And it's not that it's like deeper or more. It's like, I think it's peeling another layer again too. And we're just allowing that to happen. You can already see that coming in, like we haven't even started. But I can feel it. So like I don't care if anyone comes in or doesn't. I'm happy to whoever we got in the right. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I don't want it to like 500 people to come in that aren't the right people. It's really about the community, of which you're part of now, Narita.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful community, but you can feel how open-minded it is. Like, it's not the kind of community you want to be part of if you're rigid and really stuck in your ways. It is, because the conversations get you thinking, and they get you thinking about ways that you might not have even considered before. And that's what's beautiful about it. And then inside the community, you've got people saying, well, that on the back of that, I had this idea, or I saw this come in, and everyone's so supportive and open and sharing. And then even inside the community as well, like you were saying, Dale, when people go back and listen to it, they're like, oh, I was listening to this one again, and I got this new layer come in. And that's the thing. There's always so many layers to all of it. And I know, like you said as well, Mads, like, even though it might not have been the exact intention to start off with, what it has been is balance. And that's what's been so beautiful about it as well, is being able to see all these different perspectives and then ground it in wherever we're at. So it's been really beautiful.
I remember too, there was like a lot of ups and downs. Like, do you remember at the start, Manny, we were having a lot of problems, and you were having problems with technology and the interference and stuff. And then not even halfway, early on in the conference, I stuffed up by showing this this cave picture, which, like, idiot, and like showed it to Clint, and you could see like Clint's face, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you showing? And literally it destroyed the whole I think we had about 3 attempts to talk to Clint after that. But even that was kind of cool for people to see. And the reason, like, you don't know what's going to come up, because like obviously we've done the weekly guest speaker, and then we do like the roundtable or like a discussion on during the week. So you don't know what's going to come up between now and whatever the 10 weeks or whatever that we're running it. And that's what happened. There was things that needed to be attended to at the time, or like what we'd learned from what had happened the previous week. So it's like, you don't know where it's going to go, really.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's literally it's like a living network of living knowledge. That's a kind of what, when people are in the space, because I mean, I know you guys have said it, but a lot of people that have come in, like, I'm like mind blown with how much information and knowledge and awareness, people have. And I'm the same day, like, I don't care how many people come in. I mean, that's why I created it. It was like, this is mostly for me. And if it's just like me and two people, like, it's like, I just want these conversations. And the intention, I was just thinking then, the intention of the conference was really around truth and sharing truth. So it's funny that it's turned into balance. So there's obviously, truth is found through balance, maybe. But it's exciting. And I think that's the thing, allowing it to, because essentially if everyone's coming in with the right intention, and I do say, I do put kind of like a disclaimer, like, you need to have the ability to discern yourself in here. Like, Dale and I aren't coming in and saying this is right or wrong. These are really just conversations, and we're asking questions, and we're, bringing in different perspectives, and people need to come in with their own discernment and ability to master their own mind in which way they go, so really individual nodes coming into this network of system, this system, right? So it's like, you are your own autonomous being, you're coming in and we're sharing this living knowledge, and it's like, that's allowing that flow to continue and to see what comes up, because I also think everything that's shared is also relevant to everyone that comes in too. So it's going to change based off who's in the space, as well as the guest speakers and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, it's cool. Like, there's, the fact that there's structure, but there's also not structure. Like, we're not saying this is what you're going to learn, Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm just looking at your cat in the background, just
It's
making
on
yourself at home on the stairs. It's awesome. It's awesome. And another thing, like you were saying, Dale, as well, like, you have the guest speakers, and then in the same week, or depending on where it falls, you have the round table. And so you're talking about what's happened that week, what's come up, but then you have different speakers who are on that as well, bringing their own perspectives. So, and sometimes it's just you guys, and then sometimes it's you've got a speaker on the round tables. Is that sort of going to happen again this time around?
Yeah, I've actually got a list of roundtable people, and I just have checked when they're all available. So as things come up, we can say, do you reckon we should, bring such and such in for a conversation on this? So I've just checked when they're available through each week, and bring them in.
It's a bit flexible, Mads. That's how you work, don't you? Like, you can always like throw it out there.
That's right.
But that's like, so we got Will Keller first week, right? And what's he presenting on? What's his
water?
I know it's water, but what's the title?
Awesome.
Oh, it's like water, the consciousness and laws of water, I think, or consciousness and the essence of water, something like that.
So this is like, even that was bizarre. Mads messaged me like, oh, here's like a list of different presentations you can pick from Will. And then I'm like, yeah, well, we're doing this one. She's like, yeah, I can't remember who said it first, but it was like, yeah. And then it was coming in before then, but even since that, it was like, that is just a constant thing. And then like discussions we've had this week, Maddie, we like just insane. And that, and even like, because that's kind of like what I've been like preaching the most, is like just going with intuition. And that's how like this whole conference is, it's like that. It's real fluid, that it just goes where it needs to go. And that's what, like, because like Melissa, I'm doing this homeopathy course, and I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I haven't got time. And then like, as soon as it came up that like Will was going to do that presentation, I'm like, no, I need to learn homeopathy, just because I need to understand that layer of water again. Like, I need to understand like every single aspect of it. So like, it even like dictated what I was doing in my day-to-day life, just based on like what kept coming in with the conference and like what's about to come in. So like, I'm pumped for that. That's like the best one to start us off with. I think it's going to set the whole tone. And like Will's awesome. Like the one he did last time was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because like we haven't said this, but we've put out there to get Mark Passio. We'll see. But it's interesting because the last
haven't you left the time slot
any
for the last
connections
week?
out there? What?
You guys should get Mark. Absolutely. That's done deal. Let's just set the intention now.
Get onto.
Yeah.
We'll see. But the interesting thing is like we haven't heard back yet and we've still got the week 9 to confirm. And I don't know if you know Veda Austin, Narita.
I don't know if I know Veda. No.
She's like studies water.
Oh, maybe I've just come across.
Yeah, and she does all those. She's come up with all the hieroglyphs of water, and had these kind of like, well, she's essentially communicating with water, and she does these quick freeze things. And
yes.
You have, so
and then is it kind of like it shows like when you freeze it, it's got a like the Dr. Emoto dude.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And I've had some because I bought her like PDF stuff, and I've had some quite incredible experiences doing it myself. And just there's been a lot of little like aha moments with some of the stuff that she shared, and my understanding of like natural law and also like kinship laws and like associations of like plants, animals, people, words, planets, and that thread that will connect through kinship. Anyway, I really think we should get her on as the last one.
I think we have to,
yeah, definitely.
So I think because it's just interesting that the last week is still free, and I'm like, I think we probably have to ask her to come on.
But that's what the conversation we had the other day when like Matthew Perry died. I'm like, yeah, of course he drowned, right? And then like we started to let.
Oh yeah, the pools.
Because there's a conversation around the other day because like they do this satanic ritual where they drown them and bring them back to life. It's really common. And then also with like all the celebrity bathtub deaths like Whitney Houston and Bon Scott and Jimi Hendrix and there's heaps of them. And then it was Jimmy Page as well. Like they all drowned in bathtubs. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's all the water ritual. And then we were talking like that's like a micro of the Great Flood. So if you look at the Great Flood, and the Great Flood was tied into the stories of when the moon came in. So like the moon came in and that's when the Great Flood happened. So if you look at like all these celebrity death rituals in water, that's like a micro ritual of the Great Flood. That's kind of that's what we were talking about the other day. But there's like this kind of shit that's been coming up. But we got Max Lowen coming on too, and she's a ritual abuse survivor and a psychologist too. So like we can talk about so much with her, but like I really want to ask her about drowning rituals as well too, just to hear what
because there's even that verse in the Bible. What is it? I sent it to you the other day. I mean, that's why they do the whole baptism thing and the being born through water.
Yeah.
Being through water. Like there's so many links, and I think also this kind of understanding of like we're going through this birth as well, like this collective rebirthing through the earth. I think that there's like it's coming up for a reason. It's just interesting because whales obviously came up a lot in the last conference, and now we're kind of
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because like Clint, I'd never heard that. Clint said like the whale is like the lost tribes of the Great Flood, and even that started making more sense now because I'm like, because I reckon that the Great Flood signaled the frequency shift, especially when it's tied to the moon, because you always think, oh, like they perished at sea or whatever, but it's like, did they really? Is it this just was that like part of the construct that came in and changed the frequency? And if they've gone to the sea and they're the whale, they're actually in the base frequency. So they're not like, do you know what I mean? They're not even gone. That's kind of what I was like, what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Right? Because, and like, I'd never heard that before until Clint mentioned that. But like, because Mads has had conversations with Clint for years, and then like he'll bring something up in a talk, and I just think that like you've heard it, and you're like, "Fuck, you haven't told me that." Like
It's
you could
actually
sit there and just like ask him questions all day. Like,
yeah. And you know how I know you've said as well, like it might have been in the conversation actually you had with Narita the other day, where you hear information, say 10 years ago, and you revisit it and you understand a new layer of it. That's what it's like with Clint. So he'll share the same story, the same dreaming. I've heard the same one like 5, 6 times, right? And every time I'm like, what? Did you say that last time? Or like, or I have this like deeper understanding, and it's such a simple story. And I don't know if it's adding in bits, whether that's coming through because it's another layer for, for that group, because I know they used to share different versions of the stories for different age groups or whatever, to share different things. But I mean, I think it's with anything, you hear something again, and it's like, hold on, what? Because I guess you've also been on this other journey, you start to understand these different things.
yeah, but that's how it works with a conference too, because it could be something the previous speaker, then you understand another layer of what,
and then go back.
Of what Clint said.
Yeah, so
same as like, it's like a song. You'll hear a song for 20 years and then you'll hear it again. You're like, oh fuck, I get that song now.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Do you know Maddie thought that bloody Solid Rock was, what did you think it was?
Southern Cross.
I said it was.
Southern
And
Cross.
she's like, Southern
Oh,
Cross.
now I get really. That happens so much in so many songs. That's hilarious.
It's like selective hearing. Yeah, my mum does that. She goes, "Oh, this is my favorite song of all time," and then like she doesn't know one word.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That's awesome. That's awesome. You know what I love about the whole thing is just the amount of synchronicity that just flows through it, and just like, it's just awesome. And I love that you have it so flexible and open like that, because that's what I love. I mean, that's why I started the podcast, so I could have conversations, but not rigid ones that have to fit into a box. It's like being able to have a conversation and have new ideas and things drop in and allow it to be what it is, like the fullness of what it is, not keep it in a thing. And that's what's so cool about it as well.
Yeah.
Was there anyone in particular that like, was there any chat that you remember more than others, or that like stuck in?
Yeah, well, I think I love them all. I love them all, and I've got to go back and listen to them again. But I'll probably be like, no, but now I need to listen to these ones. But it's cool, which is the setup that you've got. So once someone joins, they've got the next one, they've got access to it for life, which is awesome. They were all great. There's one that's popping into my head right now, and that's oh, now I can't remember her name, but she's the one who worked in the in mental health. Dale, you spoke to her before.
Oh, Louise.
Louise, thank you. Yeah. And she's something around the eyes and having stuff attached to the eyes. And I can't remember if that was in the conference or if that was in another.
She spoke about having entity attachment on the left side of the eye or the brain.
Yeah. Was that in the conference, or is that something she's spoken about before?
Yeah. She said like when she released it, it opened up her creativity, because like this entity was there to distort her creativity.
Yes, but also I think from that as well too, like she was talking about how like some of the attachments have the abilities, and you think that if you get rid of that attachment, then you won't have that ability anymore, but you still will, but it will be clearer. Was that sort of or something like that? Does that ring any bells?
Yeah, you have to go back and watch.
Yeah. But all of them were just great. I'm trying to think of everyone, and I'm excited that you've got like this same speakers coming on and new ones as well. Like even, and when Donovan was sharing about the 5, I think that was massive. That was for all of us when talking about that, and that just sort of rippled out everywhere from there, because that was awesome. And Rachel's presentation as well on the portals and things like that, and wills, and I'm just like, all of them. I don't want to leave anyone out because they were all great. Harley had some great stories too. Even yesterday, I think Mel was listening. Mel, someone in the group who was listening to Harley's and our conversation about the whales, came up through that, and then she walked into a shop, a random shop. Walked in, the first thing she saw was the 3 whales and the rock in a picture on the wall.
like Harley came on, we were just doing like the close up at the end, like everyone was just coming on to share something, and then it ended up being a Harley talking for 40 minutes. Everyone going, what the fuck? We should have just given him the whole platform.
Oh, that's what's
But
so cool
do you know
about
what?
it.
Do you know what? This time, so we were talking about having last time. We got Jeff Harmon coming on, astrologer. He's really, really cool. So, and anyway, he got back to me. He's like, what do you want me to talk about? And I said, well, can you do the natal chart of Australia and give us an overview? I think, well, he does Vedic astrology, but he said, yeah, like give us an overview. And like, cause I've seen the ones he does on America, and he does a lot in the political sphere. So like, I know that that's going to be a really cool breakdown to like see like what he predicts or sees happening for Australia within the next year. But then, and then I say, like, can you do the interrogation astrology, or what do you call it, Mads? It's basically where you ask a question.
Horary astrology.
Yeah, so based on your location and the exact moment and time that you ask the question, it will give you it will give you an answer, right? So, and then I said about location astrology. So it might be, I'd actually like, it'd be cool to open up for like a couple of attendees to just ask some questions, or we could even do like your location astrology, Mads, and just see like if you've picked the right spot to be, or
Yeah.
oh, I mean, we could do it for anyone, but yeah, like that'll be a cool interactive one. But I'm interested with the Australian natal chart, because I've never seen anyone online like covering like the Australian chart and what they predict for the year. Like you see a lot on when they do the American natal chart, and he's pretty accurate with the stuff that he's done with the American one. So yeah.
Well, every town has one as well.
Yeah.
And
well, the founding.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. So in the last Sky to Earth, I was experimenting with so one of the kind of exercise I did for people was to go back to the day they were born and check the weather, look at the closest mountain they were born to, the closest river system, what was happening in the town at the time. So you can look up like history at the time you were born. And then obviously having conversations, if you can, with your parents to see what was happening in the town, what was happening for them. And it really does tell a story, right? So what's happening collectively, what's happening in your town, what's happening personally, what's happening in the hospital setting. You come in essentially in that moment, right? And that's the starting moment of your life on Earth, right? And people would debate this. They say, it's at conception and things like that. And, the way I see it is it's part of the same dimension. So it's kind of like when you cut a tree, it's like you're cutting through and it's still part of that same tree. You're just seeing one section of it, through time, right? And it was interesting because when we looked at these different things that were happening, we could then see it within the chart, their natal chart, right? So you could see these different expressions actually expressed within the chart. And then I mean, you say obviously, but it's actually pretty cool to then have that confirmed. But then I was thinking for towns, right, when you go into these different areas, you can learn about the history of the area. So it might be the history of colonization, but it could also be like tribal history. You could even find the dreaming stories. And I did a few experiments where I was looking into different histories, dreaming stories, and I guess what was happening in the town or what the town's known for, and then looking at the natal chart of the town. And I could see correlations with the natal chart of the town and the stories and history that was happening at that time. And it's so interesting because it's like, I mean, it makes sense because it's like everything's, as above, so below, and there's this reflection, but it's kind of like we're seeing a snapshot, and like the tribal people always talk about the dreaming, and the dreaming's living. It's not some far away thing, like it's continuing on. And it's kind of like we're seeing a snapshot of that, and we get to access the all through that moment. Dale talks about the fractal. It's like that moment is a fractal of the all. So it holds everything. And I say, when you go into areas and you hear conversations, like you hear people talking at a cafe, or you go somewhere, the things that are said and the things that are happening is actually a snapshot of the whole history of that place, because it continues on. Obviously, people are co-creating the space too, but it's like this ever moving, adapting, changing story. And it's part of, it's part of the start of it. So it would be interesting to hear from Jeff and look at what's happening for the chart in Australia, but also then see you know, what's to come, and also see actually if there's correlations with back in time and the dreaming, I guess, of the space in general. You know what I mean? Like, because there's a real focus on Australia at the moment. Like I've heard lots of conversations, even people overseas talking about, you know, the importance of Australia and the importance of this space, you know, energetically and, you know,
I want to get him to do the natal chart of Bendigo now. Like I never even thought about doing like natal charts of towns.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
So if you
It's
do
so,
it,
it's so,
yeah, so sorry. This is my so when you do a natal chart of a town, how does that work? Like, do you do it like, do you just pick a moment in time or when the town was formed, or like how do you do that?
It would have, I mean, like when they do the country one, so it goes from the actual founding time. So like Australia's like January, whatever. And like you got to get the minute right too.
Yeah.
That's why it might be hard for town. But yeah, like obviously that's not the foundation that, you know, that with colonization shit, there was like the founding of the official like signing, whatever. So it'd be that time. And, you know, especially like with like some of these Masonic and Satanic foundations, that they handpicked very specific dates, right, to found this town. So I don't know how you'd do it as far as ancient history, because how do you know the foundation?
But that's what you do though. Right? You cast the chart, right, for like the natal chart for the town. And then you would have to go and have conversations and see if you can find the dreaming stories, because there are, you can, that like the archetypal and elemental expressions within the dreaming stories you can find in the chart. So you can see if there is a connection. Because obviously different planets interacting tell a different story. Like each planet has a different story. And then when they come together, they're telling a certain story, and they're kind of different players in this story. So when you understand that, you can then look at the dreaming story and go, you know, and compare and see how that expresses. I mean, when you bring it down to just really elemental, like I'm talking like earth, fire, wind, you know what I mean? Like when you actually bring it down to that, that can actually be in itself. You know, if in the dreaming story they're speaking about certain like animals, or they're talking about a flood, or they're talking about things that have elemental qualities, and then you look at the chart, you look at the planets and their elemental connections and what's happening there, you can start to, and then you go layer by layer, you can obviously make it more complex based off what's happening.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And you know, Jeff did my location like 3 years ago, location astrology, and he's like, oh fuck you, you must have had a rough like few years. I'm like, nah, it's been sweet, everything's been good. And he's like, no, it doesn't make any sense. Like, because I told him like my location, like that I was in Bendigo, and he goes, no, you're good now, but you would have had a really rough 3 years. And I'm like, nah, it was good. And then I'm like, oh no, so I was living in Europe for the last 3 years. He's like, oh, where were you? And then he's like, Prague. And then so like he checked the lines going through. He's like, oh no, that was perfect spot for you to be. So it's like, and then it opens.
That's incredible.
And then you get these people that, you know, like when you get a nudge to go somewhere or leave somewhere, like whatever, like, and a lot of the time you don't even need to do your location astrology chart, because then you're probably overthinking it. But it's like, if you're going with your intuition, you're probably going to go where the chart says you're best anyway. So
yeah, I reckon everyone.
I'll cut you off, Marita. What were you going to say?
No, that's fine. I reckon everyone will be like wanting his details, so ready to rock, because they'll be like, oh, I want to see if I should be here. Or
yeah, it's so cool. It's such a cool thing, man.
Yeah. I actually remember you doing that video back then, and I was just fascinated by it all, and just thought, this is awesome. So he would have had a good laugh knowing that you're.
I want to know like the Pluto and Aquarius, like what he thinks about that too in relation to Australia, because I said from the start, like, because it's been retrograde too, like it only came in for like a month and then it went retrograde the whole time. So as it's going direct, especially with all the other outer planets, like a lot of shit's going to start happening. But I said from the start, I go, they're not going to get this voice ring through, because the last Pluto and Aquarius in the 1700s, when invasion happened or whatever, that was their attempted treaty. It didn't work then. And as you go like to the end of the grand cycle, it's just amplified. So they weren't going to get a treaty this time. It's only going to fall on its wayside even more. So yeah, I've got heaps of good questions.
And speaking of Australia as well, like, because we listen to different people, you guys, all of us, people talk about like Uluru being the heart of of Mother Earth, of the Earth. But then there's people who, in other places, that say that's the solar plexus and that it's somewhere else, and maybe it's like I don't know. I just wonder what your guys' take on that is, or even if it is a thing, or
I think your fractal understanding, Dale, is a good way to explain
Yes,
it.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
But there still has to be a center. There still has to be a center fractal. But yeah, I like, as far as like, I mean, I've seen all those different ones that say like, yeah, it's solar plexus. And like, fuck, man, who knows? Like, who's mapping out these things? I'd say intuitively. But yeah, like, because if it's fractal, then that's why the same creation stories exist all over the planet, because they're all fractals of the single story anyway.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But it seems like a center point energy vortex of where.
I think it is.
If you even look at, because I think George is going to come on, I'm going to ask him about the chakra system too. And so he even says that you have organic energy centers, and they actually, what they do is they converge up to like a 0 point or whatever that he would call like he calls like your heart soul essence that resides. Actually, there is a location in the body that it exists, right? So if that's the case in a human, then that also must be the case on the planet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's going to be such an interesting chat. Looking forward to that one as well. There's so many. So who are the speakers? Can you like, I know there's some, like, are there some that you're not announcing, leaving as a surprise? The ones that we do know,
I think we've announced all of them. Yeah, it's just the last speaker. I'll read them all out. I think all of them. Oh no, not all of them have.
Well, you left 1 week open, haven't you? Just
yeah, that's right. Just in case.
Just in case.
I love that. That's just so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to go through them?
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Okay. So we've got Will Keller. And so their title is Water, the Essence of Life, Health and Consciousness.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Week 2 is Janice Barcelo, Birth of a New Earth. Have you heard of her, Narita?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the picture, at a photo.
Yeah, I listened to a few podcasts from her. I think someone sent it actually in a Telegram group I'm in, and was blown away by her. She's pretty like passionate. She's a very passionate woman, and I love how she just stands like in her. She's like, this is right and this is wrong. Like, it's just, so that's going to be really cool. And then we've got,
sorry, Mads, what's she talking about, did you say?
Oh yeah, multidimensional truth about EMF, radiation and wireless technology, and satanic ritual abuse within the medical system. So she is an advocate for like natural birthing and that whole process. But she also speaks about the Ringing Cedar series. Have you looked into? Yeah, so she is a big one for that as well. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting chat. I think she's gonna do a proper presentation as well, like Will.
Awesome.
And then we've got Clint Walker back again, and there's no like presentation as such, because it usually just flows with like what comes up in our questions and stuff like that. Then we've got Dr. Joshua Lamero again.
Yep.
Love
awesome.
That. And that's going to be good, actually, water as a theme, because I want to ask him about the fascia as well. Yeah, a little bit more about that. And then Jeff Harmon, and I guess the topic will be, I guess we'll kind of guide it based off our questions.
Like
but
astrology around Australia. Yeah.
That'd be great.
And then we've got Max. Is it Iwan?
Lowen.
Max Lowen. Yeah.
Lowen.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I've got Iwan anyway, so I need to change that.
Okay, you put an I in 7L.
I think so. I must have like looked at it like that. I'm like, I don't know how to say that. Yeah, and then we've got George, and I've got for the presentation Revelations Blueprint and the Christian Revival Movement, but we'll see what comes up. Hey. Then we've
That's
got
one.
Tom.
That's one we've been wanting to talk about for ages, right? And so it's like
Yeah.
we kind of like don't give it justice a lot. So it's.
But
I
I
mean,
think,
we do in our own way. So it'll be really cool to hear his.
yeah. Well, I
well.
think it'll weave in anyway, because we're seeing so many people kind of go towards that as we go. Like if we are looking at that, we are going through it at like a birthing, you know, a lot of people are going, you know, I'm just going to say it, like a lot of people are regressing back to the womb. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it'll be an interesting, conversation, his take on that and like what that means for those spirits that have chosen that as well. And then we've got Tom Barnett.
Awesome.
Love talking to Tom.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I was just up in Cairns with Tom, and he.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he was, he started talking about water as well too. So
Did he
really?
Yeah.
in what he was sharing, his presentation, or?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, his was excellent. So yeah, it's going to tie in as well. I mean, people know Tom; he's great.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. And then the week 9, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then we got all the roundtables in between. So they're all the key.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we've got a few people coming on. We'll have Wados come on again. We love Wados. We'll have him on probably a few times because he's just great to yarn with, and he's got so much knowledge around everything.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
And a few others I've got there. So we'll see. It's going to be good. I can't wait. I love it.
It's so good. So good. So basically people can sign up to the day of the day before the 16th. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even on the 16th. I mean, I haven't really like shared it that much because I'm like, whoever will come in will come in.
Yeah.
Whoever's meant to be there will be there. But yeah, up to the 16th. I would probably go, a few days before, just so everyone's got their access and links and things, so they're not racing to get them. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
Admin crazy in the last. Is your mum going to help you with the admin or what?
I don't know. We'll see.
There's a bit of a like a balanced dynamic of what's going on here. I'm like, Mads, like, do you need some help? And she like, I'm like, Mads is just like doing all the hard lifting.
All the admin-y stuff.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
So you did the video. I see.
Oh yeah, like
I mean, to me.
I'm so shit at that. So I'm like, do you want me to make a video?
Yeah, and I'm like so bad at doing videos, so it's like great. I find this other stuff easy. Doing videos is like,
You know, the last time I did a promo video for the last one, Narita, I like sent it to Maddie and she's like, oh, I don't like what I said. Can you get rid of that bit? And then I re-edited it and she's like, nah, that's not good either. And then I'm like, oh, I did it like 5 times and I'm like, fuck you. Like, so this one I sent it to you, I'm like, just give me a thumbs up and like, let that be it. And you're actually.
So you did one change. You're allowed one change.
Yeah, one change. I'm like, is this cool? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, thank God.
The joys of being the video editor. No, that's awesome. And I love what you pulled together because it just highlighted different bits of the talk and just the flow and everything that Sky to Earth conference is. It's just, and I love to, like, I'm with you guys as well. Like, you just trust who is supposed to be in there. Like, it's a frequency and people in there, it just felt like, I guess in a way, a bit like home, really. It's like soul family. Like, you're connecting with people that you can you already got that vibe with, if that makes sense. But and that's what's beautiful about it,
And how have you found it? Like, because there's lots of like weird, there's all this stuff coming up. Like, how did you find it, like having kind of like a space like that to being for you?
It's just, I mean, it's great because I just love these conversations that aren't your normal just conversations that you say to someone when you say g'day in the grocery store. It's like, it's the conversations that just, they expand your mind and they get you thinking. So you listen to it, but then you see synchronicities. You have people say something in conversation and stuff. Just, you see, I don't know, it just brings the world even more to life. And like that sort of stuff for me fuels my soul, fuels my spirit. And I know that people who love to investigate and philosophize, I can't even say it, but you know, and just to question everything, it's the place to be able to be free and just be like and hear all that. And that's what I really love about it. And I'm sure that everyone in the community would feel the same way, because it's not, and it's no judgment. It's just like everyone's sharing different bits of things and everyone has different takes and different parts of the pieces of the puzzle as well. And so you're just always learning. And like you guys say, and like I say as well, there's always layers. Like they're just
so many layers.
Always layers. There's so many.
That's good to hear, because I've really found like since doing Sky to Earth, it's been such a good space to be able to go to when there is this kind of like pull one side or the other, and there's, you know, all the stuff that's being dropped and this kind of like this there, you know, getting caught up in you know, different dramas that they're playing out and different mind control techniques. To be able to go into these spaces, I feel like is going into these space, and then you can have the eagle eye, like because the conversations are so good.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, like, and it's kind of like, and for me, and I know Dale's the same actually, like I really love just being a human being and just like, you know, just going out and living my life and, you know, just, you know, being with my horses and gardening and, you know, going for dinner with my hubby, like just living, but then being able to, and then, you know, being able to actually have these like high level conversations, you know, that they really do, like, it's like you see the eagle eye and you're able to find balance again. So when you're moving through these different spaces, especially what happens, you know, in spaces like Instagram with like different shit that comes up, like we're seeing it a lot with the war, right? And there's a lot of like emotion and people are getting really triggered and angry, and to have these spaces where you start to see so many different levels and so many different perspectives, I found like you're just able to navigate in a lot more of a balanced space. And so you're able to come at things rather than getting triggered, and you can actually see it like, what is this actually revealing to me? Especially because you just said like things come alive. It's like, because you tuned in with that, like your spirit starts showing you different things, and then you start like putting pieces of the puzzle together, and it's not, you're not just like in this weird, yeah.
I look at it like, yeah, like what you've said, but to me, it's like a space of sanity within.
Yeah, it is.
No, like, and
Yeah.
like if you look at the stuff we're talking about, it's like it would look the complete opposite to someone out there. Like that's some bizarre shit, but I swear it's like fucking sanity and clarity like coming into that group.
Right.
And I'm
That's
like,
actually
oh,
so true.
I actually like for like I got so much out of it. I'm like, oh, I can talk openly and express myself.
Yeah.
And all these people are so cool, and it's like there's no emotional triggering to like these topics and stuff. And
Yes.
it definitely helped keep me balanced on it, like just for myself.
Yeah, definitely the balance, definitely the sanity. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm looking at the time, so I'm like, how long have we been talking? I don't know, because I can't remember when we press record. What else? Is there anything else like that you want to share that's on your heart that you want to share, if it's about the conference or just anything else as well while we're here chin wagging?
I might actually share, it's actually come up in the conference before, and so many people have recommended it to me. Like I'm talking like hundreds of people, and I've been like, oh yeah, but I just don't think I was ready to sit down and really take it in. But I've set it as Dale's homework for the conference, and it's to listen to Sand Talk. So there is a book. Have you heard of it, Narita? Sand Talk?
No.
But the Audible is so good because you actually hear from the author. So it's actually him sharing. See, I'm really into Audible now. I used to be
so
like
good,
this
aren't they?
person. Sorry?
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be this person was like, no, like I am a book person. Like I'm never going to get into that. That's so, you know. And now I'm like, is it on Audible? Because I want to hear it. And now I've just had such an appreciation for storytelling and verbal relay. And there's a different element to it than, you know, reading the written word. And especially the fact that the author is reading it.
It's got to be the author reading it.
Totally. And he even, because sometimes it isn't, sometimes it's, they have someone else doing it, but it's so great because you can feel it. You can feel his just, I don't know. And I don't agree with everything he shares, but it's just there's been a lot of keys in there. And I think there's going to be a lot of things that come up in the conference that it's going to tie in with a lot of the stuff. But he's essentially speaking from his perspective, but just looking at the current system that we live in and kind of talking about it from a Aboriginal perspective, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just, anyway, that is on my heart at the moment. That's on my heart.
So that's prerequisite. That's prerequisite.
Yeah. I've made it compulsory for Dale, but everyone else, it's
I've just written it down. That's my
recommended.
I would probably not do it, but because I've got another 20-hour drive haul, it's that's my consciousness explosions are like long trips.
Yeah, same.
That's honestly, and I think I did one just before the last conference, and I had a massive explosion, and then it's happened again just recently, and I can't articulate it. This is what we've been talking about, Mads, but hopefully it's going to come out in the next couple of months.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't articulate any of it at the moment.
I'm glad that you both say that. I'm glad that you both say that and find that too, because I know I struggle with that sometimes too. But how good's an open road for having just downloads and just being in nature? It's phenomenal. I think that's my favorite word at the moment, phenomenal. Notice that I say
You like your superlatives. They are.
I don't know. See, I would never say that word that you've just said. Superlative. Superlatives. I'll bring it in, will I? I don't know. So yeah, look at it. That I don't know what to say now. That was phenomenal, awesome. Yeah, I do use a lot of those, don't I? Awesome, phenomenal. Yeah, it's great. What about you, Dale? You got anything else on your heart that you want to share?
Nah.
No.
Hey, no, look, I'm just really looking forward to it and going in like I did with the other one, just going in with an open book, and starting to fill the book up as we go through. I just know at the end of this one that I know that I'm going to see things differently again, not as in change beliefs or possibly, but just understand different layers with respect to all the guests. So thanks to Mads again for putting it on, and I don't know, that's about it. I'm just really looking forward to it. And it's gonna coincide too with a nice time going through summer and Christmas and then into the start, and then we have a little break, don't we?
Yeah, 3-week break actually.
So it's gonna be it'd be a good like I said before, good what did I say? Mentally stable place during that time.
As everything flows. Now I'm so looking forward to it as well. And what I love too is just you guys have the aha moments in the conference as well too, and that's also beautiful to watch. And I love that too. Everyone else is having downloads, you guys are, and it's just so expansive. It's just so expansive. So I can't wait for it to start. I'm so grateful, Mads, for you having this idea, and then bringing Dale on, and you guys together just bringing the masculine and the feminine, and just bringing together all these awesome guests. Phenomenal, one would say. But so you guys kick off on the 16th of November. People can get tickets. I'll link everything below in the description and the show notes for people, so you can click straight through and check it out.
Promo vid. Link the promo vid.
Link the promo vid. All right. Yes. Okay. Yes, dear. I've written it down. Promo vid. So I'll link the promo vid. I'll link the link to sign up as well, and also to Dale and Mads, so you can check them out on their socials and things like that as well too. So I just want to say thank you two, for just being the epic humans that you are, and for coming on to the podcast. It's just been awesome. And yeah, can't wait for Sky to Earth to start. Thanks again. And also, while I'm here, for anyone who's listening or watching, if you haven't already, subscribe, do that. Click like, leave a review, whatever. Thank you for being here and listening to us today. Really appreciate you as well. So thanks again, you two. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks, Narita.
Yeah, thank you so much. Love it. Can't wait.